Good evening and welcome to part three of this tropical update covering the Atlantic Basin for this evening of the 14th of September 2020. Again, another very busy one out there, so again, having to split this into multiple updates. Something that I did forget to bring up on that part two, which I'll just quickly do now. Here is the radar imagery of Sally as it starts to continue to make its approach towards the Gulf Coast. As you can see here, the eye is starting to make itself visible on the radar imagery here. We can definitely see the bands already starting to make its way across portions of northwest Florida and southern Alabama. Of course, we do need to watch these bands very closely, especially for example, areas like this area here and maybe a few of these outer bands, such as here and here, where there's much more stronger echoes being saw that for any potential tornado risk, again, that this hurricane may have as the system approaches the Gulf Coast. Okay, so again, as mentioned, we're going to quickly move on to Teddy and as well as the other systems out there. That's what this update will primarily focus on. And as you can see here with Teddy, not really the most organized tropical storm out there. It does have a fairly decent low-level circulation now. It's becoming a little less elongated and more rounded, as we can see in the low-level cloud flow. Again, as you can see here, the wind turning pretty well within this area here. One thing that it does seem that this system is not yet pulling west-northwest or northwest. It is still more or less on a westward track. Again, noting that this system has been always south and west of the forecast cone so far, and the forecast cone has to keep on shifting further and further to the west and south over time. This is something that we're going to have to monitor closely, maybe potentially for the system to get closer to the Caribbean. Again, something that we're going to have to monitor very closely. We can definitely see, though, that the convective blowup starting to occur near the cloud tops, indicating that this system is starting to intensify a bit. And of course, this is also reflected in the advisory for Teddy. As we could see here, the latest advisory on Teddy earlier today noted that Teddy was at 13 north, 44 west, or 1,170 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. Maximum sustained winds now at 50 miles per hour. Present movement, as per mentioned, off to the west at 14 with a minimum pressure 1,002 millibars. No watches and warnings yet in effect, though swells generated by Teddy is expected to reach the Lesser Antilles and northeastern South America on Wednesday, likely to continue as the system makes its approach. Again, we'll be keeping a close eye on this system very closely to see what ends up happening with this system. Of course, we're also going to be talking about the areas here, what may soon be 98L here, and what could potentially maybe be 99L at some point in the medium to near future here. Either way, this area here in the Gulf of Mexico is expected to sort of move southwards and meander across the Bay of Campeche area for a good several days before this thing eventually does take off, if it does. Of course, the area that may be designated 98L very soon, a general track towards the west across the main development region. Again, more or less a lowrider as it moves across. And we'll continue to monitor this area very closely. Of course, the satellite imagery of the area, of course, just noting in particular, let's go ahead and see if we could zoom in here a little bit of the area here. Maybe if we could get a little bit, maybe not. Okay, so Just a note again, as mentioned, you could see that the convective tops are starting to pop near the core of Teddy here, and we could definitely see the convective blowups here on our system here, and not very organized. It is still more or less a tropical wave with some curvature going on in this wave. But again, not really too impressive with the activity just as of yet. And of course, we have our area in the Gulf of Mexico. Again, uh, a trough of low pressure that is up in here. And again, the thunderstorm activity is sort of on the northwest side rather than near the core. And again, this is due to the outflow of Sally, which is causing a bit of sharing over this area. But of course, as Sally eventually moves in and out, eventually this will lift and allow for conditions here to become a little bit more favorable as we do progress forward in time. But definitely no immediate chances of development of this area for now, but something to watch in the medium term. So that concludes the update part 3, of course, covering all of the systems we have this evening. Of course, we'll be doing another update tonight, especially to cover Sally as she makes her approach onto the Gulf Coast. So keep a close eye on that update that will be coming out.